Mahmoud Khalil renewed his devotion to Palestinian freedom at a New York rally this past weekend. The activist condemned Columbia's shameful trustees, but praises students' courage after release from ICE detention. Tyrone Bowman live in an article written for The Guardian, the U.S. News section by Edward Helmore. This is how this is how the article goes. And if there are stories or articles or things that I miss and you want me to talk about them, you have to let me know in the comments section. So let's get down to the story here. Mahmoud Khalil, the Palestinian rights activist freed from ICE detention on Friday, returned to Columbia University on Sunday to renew his commitment to the cause of Palestinian freedom and opposition to both the university and the Trump administration. Khalil arrived back in New York on Saturday after being released from more than 100 days in detention in Louisiana by a federal judge who ruled that punishing someone over a civil immigration matter was unconstitutional and ordered his immediate release on bail. Just outside of Columbia's gates, reunited with wife Noor Abdallah Khalil, Mahmoud thanked his supporters, legal team, and, quote, to salute the courage of all students at Columbia and across the nation who had continued to protest. So here's a copy of Mahmoud Khalil and his wife, Dr. Khalil. I like to try to give visual context while I'm talking so that people won't just be bored with the words. All right, so let's go on. Khalil made clear that following his release from detention, he would battle what he called the, quote, shameful trustees at Columbia that are currently attempting to expel 15 more students and to suspend tens of others, basically conceding their future, their degrees, and labor because they are not afraid to stand for Palestine, end quote. The university, he added, quote, would do anything and everything it can to ensure that the words Free Palestine are not uttered anywhere near it. But while we are all here, Free Palestine, free Palestine, end quote, the crowd followed in a chant. Khalil went on to accuse Columbia of attempting to prevent the rally at its gates just so we cannot remind them that they fund the killing in Gaza, and he described himself not as someone who is violent, as he claimed to have been portrayed, quote, but as a human rights defender, end quote. His address confirms that Khalil, the most high-profile student to be targeted by the Trump administration for speaking out against Israel's war on Gaza, plans to sustain his criticism of the university for what activists consider Columbia's capitulation to Trump administration's demands to curb anti-Semitic speech and threats against Jewish students on campus. Quote, if they threaten me with detention, even if they would kill me, I would still speak up for Palestine. Khalil said shortly after landing in New Jersey on Saturday. I just want to go back and continue the work I was already doing, advocating for Palestinian rights, a speech that should actually be celebrated rather than punished, end quote. Khalil went to Jena, Louisiana shortly after being seized by plainclothes U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement or ICE agents in the lobby of his university residence in front of his heavily pregnant wife, who is a U.S. citizen, in early March. The 30-year-old, who has not been charged with a crime, was forced to miss the birth of his first child, Dean. By the Trump administration, Khalil had been permitted to see his wife and son briefly, and only once earlier in June, the American green card holder was held by ICE for 104 days. Khalil was ordered to surrender his passport and green card to ICE officials in Jena, Louisiana, as part of his conditional release. The order also limits Khalil's travel to a handful of U.S. states, including New York and Michigan, to visit family, for court hearings in Louisiana and New Jersey, and for lobbying in Washington, D.C. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, A Bronx Democrat said Khalil's order was, quote, not over and we will have to continue to support his case. The persecution uh, based on political speech is wrong and it is a violation of all our First Amendment's right, not just Mahmoud's, end quote. Quote, this is yet another example of how out of control members of the judicial branch are undermining national security, end quote, Tricia McLaughlin, the Assistant Homeland Security Secretary, said in a statement. Their conduct not only denies the result of the 2024 election, I don't know what that has to do with anything. It does not, it also does great harm to our constitutional system by undermining public confidence in the courts, close quote. Someone says that, hi, I'm from Russia. Thank you for watching. The Trump administration claims it had the authority to detain and deport Khalil, arguing that his presence in the U.S. is a threat to national security. A second charge alleges that he omitted details about his work history and membership in organizations on his green card application. Well, you can best believe that this fight is long from being over. You know, when individuals take up a cause, they're going to face persecution of every kind from within and from without. Let me go to the comments section. I don't read, I can't understand the Russian language, but I understand the message. Hello, I'm from Russia. Thank you for watching Tyrone Bowman Live. If you're watching Tyrone Bowman Live and you're new to the channel, would you kindly hit the subscribe button? I'd appreciate it very much, and the like button as well. If there are stories, as I said in the earlier of this video, because I got a whole lot of things to cover tonight, if there are stories that I missed and you think I should talk about them, hit me up in the comment section so I can basically go ahead, do the research, and talk about it. Or you can email me at TyroneBowmanSr@gmail.com. That's TyroneBowmanSr@gmail.com. Dennis, hey, what's happening? How you doing? Welcome to Tyrone Bowman Live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get ready for the next video. Thank you for watching. Never surrender, never quit.